paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Jason Alt and Douglas DJ Johnson, fresh off of a very enjoyable and busy trip to Command Fest Richmond. I, myself, am just back from DreamHack Dallas, which was pretty neat, and Jason is just back from the bathroom.
Corbin's just playing truth, and a lie with our audience here.
Back from the bath? What does it even mean?
It means that you recently visited the bathroom and you've returned.
Is that a dunk?
Everybody poops, Corbin.
Yeah, but like I didn't just come back from the bathroom, but it would be okay if I was. So it's just I don't
know where he's going either.
I didn't go anywhere. Jason did though, but I was just trying to.
Was it the bathroom? Is that where I went?
Yes, I was trying to help you feel included.
You also said that I had an enjoyable and busy weekend, neither of which are true, so you're just a liar.
DJ had a boring weekend.
I see. Well, that's a lot less exciting to lead the show, but we'll talk about Command Fest Richmond. We'll talk about DreamHack Dallas. I did have a good time.
Can I talk about the bathroom where I apparently was?
That is what I was going to follow up with, actually, Jason.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you get any gummy bears?
In the bathroom?
I don't understand.
Oh, we used to bribe my daughter by we give her gummy bears if she shit. And then one day she was real constipated, so we gave her those sugar-free gummy bears. And she was like, not even 2. She picked out all the sugar-free ones and threw them on the floor and ate the regular gummy bears. Like she had one sugar-free one and just like let it fall out of her mouth and then picked all of the... I don't know how she could tell. It was crazy.
True?
Yes, she wasn't even 2. She was like, nope, fuck these in particular. They looked a little different. She's like, that's all I need. They were both Haribo brand. Like, it was crazy. She didn't... Because we thought we were genius parents, right? She was a little constipated. So we're like, oh, we'll give her the, the meme gummy bears, the sugar-free ones. With all that xylitol, it'll just make her crap like a fountain. Didn't work. She wouldn't eat them.
That's fantastic.
We had to hold her down and gavage medicine into her mouth because she wouldn't eat a gummy bear.
Yeah, you just tried to poison your kid. You tried to
Yeah.
poison your kid.
Poison? No. We were trying to give her medicine. If you're not constipated, you're going to have a really bad time on sugar-free gummy bears. If you are constipated, you're going to have a really good time and then a really bad time on sugar-free gummy bears.
Poisoning would be forcing somebody to get a vaccine, Corbin.
I'm over this conversation, but that's okay because...
You brought up the bathroom. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, Corbin.
I guess so. Sure.
And by sword, I mean the S word.
Look, Commander Legends 2, Battle for Baldur's Gate came out. There were people playing it over the course of the weekend. It had lots of stuff. I don't know. What's all take on the set now that we have access to everything?
So the set released on Friday. People drafted it on Saturday, and on Sunday, spoilers for New Dominaria.
It was a pre-release, right? Like the set's still not out yet. That's the thing, because I know we couldn't sell cards from the set because it's still a pre-release.
But you could buy them, right?
There's no reason to buy them if we can't sell them.
Interesting, because the vendors in Dallas were buying new cards.
They can make whatever decisions they want.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's just I completely understand the reasons that you don't want to buy.
These prices in an event, they're going in a box.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're getting brought back to the warehouse to be sorted, and then they're being put out 2 weeks later when
the prices are all lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. What if they were buying them at good prices or not, but.
Most recently, I was asked this by Nick from the Scrap Trawlers podcast. Check out the Scrap Trawlers podcast, I assume, at Scrap Trawlers on Twitter. He asked me a very good question, and I answered it for him. I would like to hear what you guys would have told him.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll try to do my Casey Kasem voice. And he writes, hey, Jason, long time no talk. All right, I can't do it.
No,
I'm sorry. I started out, I'm like, I sound just like Casey Kasem, and then by the end, I'm like, Hey everybody, I'm Casey Kasem. No, everything just turns into Christopher Walken or Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is why I don't do impressions. Hey Jason, long time no talk. We talk all the time. I think he just said that, for comedic effect.
Obviously.
Hope things are well with you. Got a question about card prices. We're thinking of doing some videos on budget pickups for sets, but with the constant influx of new products, we really don't know when prices start to stabilize. We guessed it was maybe 2 weeks after release. What do you think? So I have my answer. I want to hear what you guys say first before I tell you what I told him.
DJ, go ahead.
I don't really have an answer to this. I don't want to just make one up out of thin air. I assume that this is a question that has an answer. Don't get me wrong. Like there's data. You can pull TCG Player's API and MTG Stocks data and just actually figure that number out by using just spreadsheets and whatnot. I have not particularly been involved in listing new cards at their release and then repricing during the weeks following. So that's not something that I've been doing. All of my intakes come from collections that I get generally some number of weeks after set releases. So I won't have Baldur's Gate cards for another few weeks. So that sort of specific trend isn't something that I'm aware of nowadays. Back in the old days, it used to be the first Pro Tour was when cards would actually spike. It was you'd have 3 to 4 weeks and then the Pro Tour and then whatever card Advent of the Worm or something like that would spike but nowadays it is much more not hidden but much harder to pay attention to, I guess. Specifically.
It is. There's not one stream every weekend of a GP circuit to follow where the meta, is consistently being tested in Modern or whatever over the course of several months, and there's not any huge shocks per se. But yeah, the world we live in now, especially Modern, for instance, and this will come up with my pick of the week later, but shout out to Brandon Lozier, friend of mine from my hometown, who top 8'd the DreamHack Modern event 10K, went undefeated in the Swiss, entered the top 8 as the number 1 seed with Mill. So Modern's a place.
Why is it always Mill in those events by Corbin? It's always someone playing Lantern Control or something just terrible.
Mill's very good right now.
Undefeated in Swiss, undefeated at taking the full 50 minutes for every round, plus 5 turns.
Mill in Modern these days, Jason, is pretty quick.
It's basically a burn deck. I mean,
Yep.
You're just dealing with different numbers than 3 into 20. You're dealing with 10 into 60 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
Except
mind dealing
sometimes
52 damage to somebody if my lightning bolt costs 2 mana and deals 10 damage.
Yeah, but that's not how it works these days. It's more like you spend 3 mana and you deal 30.
Yeah, I mean, Tasha's Laughter is...
Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Woo!
But, so, going back to the original question, it also just depends on, how fast people are figuring out the set. Ledger Shredder's a good example of this, where it's the card bottomed out a week after the set release at $1, and then players who are very good at the game decided that it was a very good card, and then it became 10, and then now it's 25. So you can say that cards bottomed out a week after the set release, but it's just not. I wouldn't say there's a consistent trend to it unless
especially because especially now, obviously, right?
Yeah.
It's
last
definitely
2
almost
years,
impossible.
really.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's just impossible in this time to really pin down an answer, because basically every set release for the past 2 years has come under different circumstances. Just in sort of the world of COVID and how comfortable the general populace across the entire world is going to events or whatever, right? Being a pre-release. So
that and the number of products they're out. Okay, so
yes,
what is the bottom on draft cards? What is the bottom on set boosters or extended foils? What is the bottom on whatever the different weird retro frame promo that they made with Goblin Guide? When does that bottom out? Wedding Ring's a good example, where it's the card pre-sold for $30 because you could only get it from specific set boosters from Crimson Vow, which was a set that wasn't opened. So it's the pre-sale for $30, but it'll tank and go down to nothing, right? I mean, it's still 15. The card's not frequently seen. It's not something that people open anymore. It's just a weird card
that product was done. That people stopped opening that product immediately. And nobody played FNM with it. Nobody drafted with it. Like,
well, that's what it's hard to compare that to, New Dominaria or whatever, which is going to release at a much different time. Which is going to release at a much different time than Ikoria did. Which is going to release at a much different time than whatever the most recent set is. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard answer, I guess.
It is a question that is best solved by like data analysis, which is not something.
But generally a month or two, I guess, is probably
that's not a good answer. That's not like something you can like that's actionable.
But the answer is I think it's a longer time period than a week or two.
But if you like Ledger Shredder's a week.
But that was like, there's one Ledger Shredder every set. There's a card everybody missed.
Unlicensed Hearse is the second card in that set.
Yeah.
Yep. I think everyone was too busy doing this to actually read the cards in New Capenna, so no one knows what any of them do. They're like reading it. Oh, like, man, I should have bought more of this. You got those Art Deco Triumphs and everything.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I do like
the borderless foil Triumphs are going to be insane. Those are very hard to get.
But it's hard to type in MTG stocks into your search bar when you're doing this. So this is your reckoning, everybody. Everyone that thought it was cool to make fun of Italians, well, look at you now. You know what it costs.
Jason, it's 2022. We can use a Google Voice Assistant or Siri to open up MTG stocks. You can do that while you're driving. That's hands-free.
The Alexa, man.
Well, no, I'm going to say, hey, Google, open up MTG stocks so that people who are listening to this in their car without headphones, their phone's going to do the thing.
Perfect. The thing, by the way, going to mtgstocks.com is I heard one in the background there. Is exactly what you should be doing. Because that is, of course, the generous sponsor of this podcast, the best place for all of your financial information. Look, when we're talking about if you want to go track down the data, go look at the top 5 expensive cards from the past 5 sets to try to figure out when they bottomed out sort of as a group. The place you're going to do that, the only place you're really going to get that information to the extent you want it and need it for something like that is mtgstocks.com. You can also sign up for a premium account, which will give you to even more in-depth tools like that, as well as tracking, and DJ won't dox you if you sign up for MTG Stocks Premium today.
No, the not doxing thing is for the hoodies. Mm-hmm. That's specifically that's.
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
I have different rules for each sponsorship is negotiated individually. And like that's just something that's and like it's also like a social experiment and sort of like a psychological like you got to figure out what people are afraid of. And
it's just a prank, bro.
I mean, like it's coalesce, it's clothing, it's like a very primal need, so you gotta attack that very primal fear of safety kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The human desire to feel sheltered and warm. That's what. Okay. Yes. That is what the hood is for. To be fair,
the hoodies are very, very comfortable.
Like, imagine if it was just like a hoodie without a hood, it would offer much less protection. That's a good point, and which is why you should also be going to Coalesce.
Are you trying to sell people on the concept of hoodies because we have an endorsement deal with Coalesce?
I mean, I guess I'm more just like discovering why I like hoodies in real time, you know? Yeah. Speaking of discovery, you all are going to learn something today. It's time for Breaking Bulk.
Oof.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
That was rough.
I discovered that I don't like that transition. Does that
excellent segue. Just like an excellent pick I have this week, it's a green common from Lorwyn.
Is it Lignify again?
No, Lignify's uncommon. No, Lignify's common. You're right.
Is it Lignify again?
Is it Elvish?
It is not Lignify.
Elvish Elf. Spring
is
cleaning.
It the tree folk that you did last week?
Nope.
Ooh. Is it spring cleaning?
I didn't do a tree folk last week.
Somebody did a tree folk recently, didn't they?
Sea Guy Dash.
Yeah.
It is not Lignify. What did you say, Jason?
Elvish Elf.
No, it is not Elvish Elf.
How close was I?
Kind of close.
Elvish Eulogist?
Nope.
The Copperhorn Scout? No, that's
Scars.
That's
Scars.
Yeah.
Nope.
The elf that you sack to destroy an enchantment.
Nope. This is a 75-cent card, though.
Ooh, goodness. Is it Elvis Eulogy?
Nope.
I said that one already.
You all don't know. You all don't know this
Promenade?
one.
That was
Try
uncommon.
a different.
Promenade's not even a pick anymore. It's so sad.
I know.
Try a different tribe.
A different tribe. I said Elvish Elves. Oh, is it the Changeling Outcast? Or no, Changeling the bear?
Titan.
No,
There you go. Jason's
there's the
got
bear,
it.
and then there's the
Yeah, it's a woodland changing. Woodland
Changeling.
changeling. It's just a changeling bear.
See,
It's
this
a
is why
shapeshifter bear.
this is why I unbanned Laurelwood with my draconian authority.
I mean, it was actually, I think, a good call because that's a good pick at 75 cents.
Yeah,
It was
you unbanned
actually a good
Lorwyn.
call.
You weren't the one who banned Lorwyn. It was you calling it all the time. You're like, what basic land from what set? And you're like, all right, you're fired. We had to shut it down for a minute.
Well, as usual, my pick remains extremely difficult to guess. Jason, you got there eventually. What do you have this week?
I have a Legion's uncommon creature.
Not a clue.
It's black.
Isn't Legions all uncommon?
Is
Or
it
all
Crypt Sliver?
sorry. Is Legions not all creatures?
Isn't it?
Okay.
Is it Crypt Sliver?
It's not Crypt Sliver.
Was Gempalm Polluter Onslaught or Legions?
Gempalm Polluter was a common from
Is it a zombie?
It may have one of the words in its type line that you'd expect to see in a zombie card.
Withering Wretch?
It's not Withering Wretch.
You said it's an uncommon or a common?
It is an uncommon. This is a $2 card with 2 printings, the second of which was
It's
in
probably like Plane Chase. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Plane Chase deck because the Plane Chase.
Plane
zombie
Chase,
deck-
telling you it was in Plane Chase, not helpful. It's a zombie, and its second printing was in a zombie precon. Good luck,
Yeah.
idiot.
I mean, I kind of remember the art on it I remember the plane chase thing. Something about draining
It's
life.
5 mana.
Okay, maybe I don't know.
Oh, Noxious Ghoul.
No.
No?
Nope. It is a 5 mana 3/3.
Corpse Harvester.
Corpse Harvester. Sack a creature, search your library for a zombie and a swamp. Reveal them, put them into your hand. This card fucks.
I used
Jason,
to play this
isn't,
card as a casual.
isn't Noxious Ghoul also a 5 mana 3/3?
Perhaps.
Yeah, but he
it
said
is.
it's not Noxious Ghoul,
Yeah.
which means it's the other one.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Corpse Harvester, yeah, it's fair enough. DJ,
Zombies are in such a weird spot because you have to build a commander deck and there's like 260 playable cards.
Yeah, every card is a
yeah.
lord, and none of them are eligible for each other's bonuses. So it's just like, how many undead war chiefs do you put in a deck? When they
no
they just
kidding.
started printing uncommon zombie lords 5 years ago and never stopped. It's
you
too
get
much.
plenty of choices.
It's like,
You can go
like,
sub-zombie themes,
You can
know?
play you can build 3 very identical zombie commander decks and none of them would share a card.
I challenge you to do that. No, let's challenge somebody else. I'll go on a deck building stream and be like, your challenge is to make 3 zombie decks, none of which share a card, and then they all do it, and I show up as like, yeah, I couldn't do it, so I'm just gonna play with my regular decks. That would be that's the kind of energy that I should put out into the world.
BSBEDH, check it out.
BSBDH, baby, show up and get God.
Wednesdays on Twitch.
I think my pick will be equally. We've all had good ones this week. I think mine will be equally ungettable. It is a Mercadian Masks Black Uncommon.
No one knows what's in that set.
Larceny.
Larceny. No.
That's a good guess, though. Larceny is not a pick, and it should be. I love that card.
Insubordination.
No,
Is it a creature?
it is not a creature.
I don't know these cards.
So it's not a mercenary. Is it the
Bubbling-
summons or
bubbling-
whatever goes getting a mercenary, the mercenary tutor?
It is. It is Kateran summons. That's
Kateran
that's-
summons.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's pretty
buddy.
good. You were like, it's not a mercenary, and I was like, just waiting for you to skip past all the other mercenaries.
Never heard of
but
this.
yeah,
one.
This was freshman year of high school, man. This is peak.
Kateran
being
Summons
Magic
is a
Pack.
1-mana black sorcery that tutors for a mercenary. It recently climbed from bulk to $1.17. My closest guess is people playing Rebels in pre-modern
No, aren't rebels and mercenaries in
or whatever.
They were like spoiled. People are talking
What?
about it. There was something, man. People are talking about. I don't know.
It started climbing in call time.
Yeah, it's been climbing for a minute, but also this card's good.
It's narrow.
I mean,
Yeah.
tutors for changelings.
For changelings. Yeah.
But
does
it's
do
just
that.
a tutor. It's just I mean, this is the kind of card that if I had known it existed 2 years ago when it was bulk, I would have been like, this card's broken as hell. What if they do a mercenary set?
What year was this card printed? 1999? This card is very old. This card could legally drink.
This is one of those cards that I put into my sorting machine and it pulled out of the bulk for me. I did not discover upon this on my own accord or skill set.
Yeah, no, this is great. This
DJ
sorting
just
machine.
paid $8,000 to not have to know poll lists anymore.
this
I did.
yeah, this sorting machine already paying dividends for the content, though. I appreciate that.
Is
I want your sorting machine to make a giant mistake, and that would be funny.
the biggest mistake it made while tuning was that it thought an Architects of Will was an F&M promo shock somehow. I don't know how it made that mistake.
Oh.
Yeah. Whomst among us? Does it get Cruel Deceiver and Cranial Extraction mixed up? Because that's what we all did. If you were playing Magic in 2005, you know when you open up a pack and there's a Cruel Deceiver and you shit your pants for a second, thinking it was a $25 rare.
Okay, so
Remember
I'm looking
that?
at... And then
Nope.
Cranial Extraction. I gotta look at the art in the other one. Oh, I can see it. No, that's fair. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Got everybody, man. That was a thing.
JJ, our editor will put it up here. So I'm looking at Cranial Extraction. What's the other one?
Cruel Deceiver.
Cruel Deceiver. The arts are very similar. They're both black cards of Champions
yeah.
of Kamigawa. And,
Agreed.
for those who don't know, Cranial Extraction was actually a card back in the day. I realize it's $1 now.
It's
but this
I know
was-
it's a bulk rare now, but back in the day, if you cast Cranial Extraction, they scooped.
This was the first of one of the first of its kind in terms of what it did, and it was a slower standard format that allowed you to ruin the opponent's deck.
This
But,
card was legal. This card was played and even like extended back then. But yeah, both these cards have a lot of arms in them.
One of my recent ones that gets me is most Prismari cards. So the Strixhaven Is It thing, they all just are like a blue and a red, and they have a bunch of fire and ice or whatever in the art. So they all just look like expressive iteration.
Sure, they do all look pretty similar on that one.
Especially when I bought a bunch of Japanese packs and I'm cracking them. I was like, oh, it's an Express Fitter. No, it's not.
Unlucky. All right, well, moving on, let's talk about DJ's really fun and exciting weekend in Richmond. Star City hosted Command Fest Richmond. I believe this was the first major Command Fest of the year. This being
It wasn't a major Command Fest.
fair. There are no more GPs. There are still Magic events. There are Command Fests, and there are events like what I was at DreamHack. I can talk about DreamHack in a few minutes, but DJ, what was the Command Fest Richmond like? A bit of an experiment.
There's Command Fests, there's SCG cons, there's TCG cons, and there's Collecticons going on right now.
What about Decepticons?
What about NRG events as well?
And those sort of scale downward in the amount of magic that happens at them. Collecticon is mostly like non-magic, but so Command Fest Richmond was a very slow event. It was definitely the slowest and least busy magic event that I have worked in my lifetime. I have probably worked 50-ish.
In your lifetime, not just like...
I mean, if we're counting like events that are in a convention hall, right? Like not just...
but I mean, you've come on this show and talked about a bad event before, a slow event. But this is putting them all to shame, is what you're saying.
Portland 2018 was close-ish, and that one was like before Christmas. That was like the week before Christmas. And so this event was extremely slow. A couple of the biggest barriers to entry for it being a good event are, number one, it's in Richmond, which is not exactly a fun city to go to or travel to. There's a reason it burned down in 1860. I'll just say that. And like, there's a cover charge to get in, so you can't just like go in and sell to vendors. You can't just like go in and walk around and get cards signed. Like, if you want to just go in and get one card signed by Mark Teaton, you number one have to pay at least $50, and then number two, you have to stand in a 3-hour line to get cards signed by Teaton. So like, there's that. I think Martina was the busiest person all event. He's the only one I heard who had a line at something.
Look, that to me, you've already hit on. I mean, that just sounds bad. Like the GPs, you always, you go. We've all been there. You go to a GP, then you go to lunch, and somebody says, "What's blah blah blah? What were your Magic players? I've heard of that. Hey, go check out the GP. It's across the street. It's open to the public. Feel free to look around and check it out." And now
there's
it's
a
paywall.
lot of
That's bad. Like that just sucks. That's not good.
I'm gonna make up a phrase here, but there's a lot of like cross-con contamination. Like
yes.
within shows, like every now and again you'll just see like people from like the heavy metal con like walking through the Magic show and being like, "Oh, I played these cards back in the day."
Yeah.
Or like there's been like vape cons in Vegas where you can tell the clientele are different that are what you're like, "Oh yeah, they're from the other show," or like there's a
the
lot
people
of, like,
from the vape con smell better.
Oh, grapefruit, interesting. But so like there's just a lot of like, I guess, foot traffic, and the Command Fest just doesn't get that. And there's some more detailed breakdowns of the event structure and the prize payout and all that you can find on Twitter. If you follow Shivam or any of the other like well-known content creators, some of them have shared their detailed threads about like the event structure payout and how bad certain things feel about playing and just certain competitive or casual pods, all of that stuff. But like just from a vendor standpoint, I think on Sunday specifically, we had 2 buyers at the show. We brought 5 people to the show, which is much less than normal. We had 2 buyers. I think each of us did less than 10 transactions throughout the entire day, and that's buying or selling. Because we were also getting up to help sales because like we just needed to stand up and do something and feel useful.
Brutal. That is brutal. It's so rough to sit in those tournament halls and just be bored out.
Not good.
You're staring at just the scenery is not
Corbin,
exactly
you
exciting.
may now pass your packs to the left.
Yeah.
I said pass your packs to the left.
Yeah, and you're just staring at a gray wall for 12 hours. You can't see sunlight. Oof. Can't touch grass.
Can't touch grass, and you can't even like leave the convention hall and touch grass either because it's a city made of cobblestone.
That's just on like sort of a larger level. I don't know. It's just rough. Like, I get it. Like, you can't if you let people play casual Magic at Command Fest, why are they paying to? They're just like they can just show up and play Commander for free. Like, so I understand how like you get to a point where you have a paywall, but
you can make that event profitable like that. I don't think it's a big unrealistic thing to say that like freemium is a very powerful and profitable model. Like you can have an event that there's walk-inable, free cover charge, and then just make it a convention and make it a more interactable experience for the player.
And I mean, look, and just on a principled level, Magic is supposed to be open and welcoming to all and all this stuff. And just, I don't know. When you told me that, I just personally didn't love that message that this is an exclusive paywalled event just to sit down and play Magic with friends or with new people. Like that's like the that's like the antithesis of the entire ethos behind Commander. I don't know.
You know what they could do? Like that is probably a very easy way to make money once you figure out the logistics. Is and Magic Twitter would lose their minds over this at the price, but like people would pay it. Is you have, because the content creators that got invited, like they were there and they played games with their friends and they weren't really overtly compensated very well, I don't think. You could absolutely just like figure out a way to have people pay money to play with their favorite creators. Like that's a very untapped market that would be very expensive and rightfully so. That is already like a very tapped market in other industries like sports or video games or whatever. Like that's a very known thing that people do, and Magic has just barely touched it.
We should have the Magic equivalent of Cameo.
Right, like that's what it'd be. Like there are absolutely people who would go and like pay $50 to like play a Commander game with Shivan Bot or like with Chase or with Tappy or like any number of creators.
Or
like,
with you, DJ.
If you want to play with me, you don't have to pay $50. You can just become a patron at patreon.com/BSB for as little as $20 a month, which is $4 or $5 an episode. You could be in our Discord and be like, hey, I want to play 88 some week, and then we'll ignore you for like 6 months, and then we'll be like, shit, the person we really wanted to play with like backed out at the last minute. We need someone to fill in, and then that could be you.
Another perfect pitch, Jason. I can't see anyone not being sold by that. Okay, well, Richmond bad. However,
so like to wrap that up really
go
quickly,
ahead.
like that's already a thing in other cons, and the price could be like you could charge $50 or $100 or whatever to play a Commander game with a creator, and I think people would absolutely pay it, because there are other industries where people are willing to pay like $100 to get like a selfie with their favorite like voice actor or their favorite like artist or their favorite gamer from another
their favorite Star Trek character from 1994.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
people will pay like $100 for like a retired sports person at like a con and get like a selfie with them, and then like that's it. And that takes 5 minutes. $100 for a game with your favorite Commander player would be a steal.
Well, sounds like DJ had a time in Richmond, but hey, at least you got to travel again, and we know how much you enjoy that, right?
I was supposed to fly, and my flight got canceled, and then drove 8 hours each way with a bad leg.
Oh.
None of the weekend was good. You cannot lie your way out of this.
I was just trying to alternative history, just to try to, give you an option. You could choose your headcanon on this, and I was just trying to give you an out to have a better time than you did. Meanwhile, I had a great time.
Information on this podcast is DJ just convincing people that this life is dog shit.
I had a great time at DreamHack Dallas. I went as a sponsored content creator. I did a lot of photography on the weekend. Got some cool shots. It was neat. For those who don't know, DreamHack is basically an esports convention. They have 4 or 5 different major tournaments going on across, CSGO or Rocket League, or they had big Hearthstone stuff. They had this Magic tournament, just all kinds of other games I don't even know of. Like, there's all kinds of games going on. So it's kind of, you just walk around to different stages, and there's just constantly a big event going on. So it's pretty exciting, I got to say. And then Magic had its little corner tucked away, where they had 200-ish people for the 10K event, which is insane EV for anyone who played in it.
Wait, DreamHack isn't a convention for people who like the movie Inception?
I like the movie Inception.
I'm sure that you like the movie Inception.
They had all kinds of stuff there. They had grass you could go touch. I went and did the Air Force simulation. I wanted to see how ready I was to protect and defend our country. And the answer is poorly.
Did you just sit in a chair the whole time and they're like,
I wish.
The Air Force, baby.
Well, that would have been so much better. It was like a VR thing. And about halfway through the 20-minute VR thing, I had to take a small break because my back was hurting so bad. So
it's not even like the vertigo or the dynamics. You're just like, oh man, it's a chair.
Were you flying a plane or a drone?
It was a couple different things. You had to I don't know. One of them was testing your reaction time with your hands grabbing different stuff in the VR.
Oh, so they were recruiting.
Oh yeah, they got your email address.
Get your ass out of Dream.
Take that to the theaters
where they're playing Top Gun. That's the deal, right? Top Gun lets you use the planes, and then you get to set up Navy recruiters in the lobby.
Well, look, bro, didn't you know that the military?
But the military had their first-person shooter.
The military has an esports team, bro.
Yeah.
And they banned a bunch of words in the Twitch chat constantly when they tried to stream on Twitch.
They had airmen there. I guess they'd be airmen, right? Whatever. There talking to people, trying to recruit. It was what it was. But hey, I wanted to do the VR and see. But I got to say, the top score was a 26 or something. I scored a 3.
So
3. In my defense, the machine was. Part of it bugged out at the end, so my maximum score. My maximum score was not the
23/26th of it.
No, but it did bug out for the last third of it. So maybe my ceiling was 20 instead of 30 or whatever. But regardless,
Corbin,
you don't want
you
me.
would have gotten an 11.
You don't want
if you did perfectly on the last third, you would have gotten an 11.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I didn't. So you don't want me to Top Gun Maverick it, I would say. However, I'm good at video games.
Maverick was
so
in
what
the Navy,
really
not
matters?
the Air Force.
That's why he
Whatever.
got a 3.
Yes.
he thought he was driving a boat.
Then why is
This
he
next
flying an
section is
airplane?
15 questions on telling the difference between the Air Force and the Navy. It's like, you've typed in Coast Guard. That was not a correct response.
Okay, I just want to get this straight. The way to know that he was in the Navy is because he's flying an airplane, right? So the easiest way to tell if someone is in the Air Force is if they're driving
They're
a
on a
boat.
submarine, yeah.
Okay.
I
I
made
just
that
didn't.
joke
I
already.
look. I haven't seen Top Gun really, and I certainly haven't seen the new one. So I was
Corbin
kind of
heard
guessing.
aircraft
You've never
carrier.
seen Top Gun?
I'm not a boomer. You know who's excited about Top Gun Maverick? Jason, really, really excited about it. Like going to a movie theater for the first time in forever.
Your dad.
My mom, Jason.
Oh, that's dude. I've seen Top Gun. I'm not going to Top Gun Maverick, but I've seen
you've already
Top
seen
Gun.
it?
I participate in the zeitgeist.
You're not going to Top Gun Maverick because you've already gone. You went the day it
Listen,
came out.
I've seen Days of Thunder. I've gone beyond. I've seen Top Gun. I've seen Days of Thunder.
Don't know what that is, but okay.
It's a NASCAR movie. Have you not seen a NASCAR movie, Corbin? Tom Cruise drives a NASCAR sponsored by Mellow Yellow. It's like,
Wait, is Days
that's
of Thunder
all your
not
favorite
a war
shit.
movie? I heard Days of Thunder and I assumed it was like a war movie.
No, it's a movie about NASCAR.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
You don't think?
I'm uncomfortable with this information.
What? Don't make me out to be the NASCAR expert on this cast.
Corbin's just mad that his,
NASCAR expert under my name while I'm God damn it, JJ.
Corbin's just
I'm not
mad
a
that
NASCAR.
his,
Get rid of that. I'm not a NASCAR expert. I just know more about the Tom Cruise movies.
Corbin's just mad that his Jeff Gordon lore was shattered.
My Jeff Gordon lore. I did. Yeah, sure. There's Jeff Gordon. There's Junior.
Who's Junior? Jeff Gordon Jr.?
Oh, bro, Junior.
Isn't there actually like a Jeff Gordon Jr. though? I think there is.
No, there's a Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I know
Dale
there's a Dale
Earnhardt
Earnhardt
Jr.
Jr.,
There's
but I
Dale
thought they were
Earnhardt
both
Jr.
sort of a dynasty thing now. At
The
this
only
point.
there was a while where the only NASCAR driver I knew was Terry Labonte because he drove the Kellogg's car and I met him a bunch of times and I just
Nice.
didn't care. There was a huge line to meet him and then he signed my hat and I was like, oh, why did I wait in that line? And that was that's what I know about NASCAR.
And now Jason doesn't go to conventions. But you should have seen the lines at
I'm going
DreamHack
to
Dallas.
fucking
so-
Seattle. What are you talking about? I'm going to Seattle.
The line,
Not
yeah,
to
for a
dox
Pokemon,
myself
for,
and
for a
let-
Pokemon convention, yeah.
Not to let that Mike guy who threatened to kill me know where I'm going to be ahead of time, but yeah, I'm going to be in Seattle.
The lines to meet, say, the team of CS:GO players were insane. I'm talking hour-plus lines to go say
to
hi.
meet a guy who plays Counter-Strike.
To meet a team of 19-year-olds playing Counter-Strike and get them to sign your...
Dude, imagine
Whatever.
you're a 19-year-old like esports gamer not knowing your career's over in 3 years and you're just being such a condescending dick to somebody who waited in line 2 hours at
But here's the thing,
Oh my
though,
God,
Jason.
I love it.
Here's the thing, though, man. It's not quite like athletics in the sense that there tends to be, for, whatever reasons, sort of a personality archetype that goes with a professional athlete who would do that you're talking about. But these are esports professional athletes. These are sweaty ass nerds for the most part, I gotta say.
I mean,
It
Sneaky
doesn't
left,
matter. Go
Sneaky
ahead,
left
DJ.
C9 to go be an e-girl, so like, there's alternative career paths.
For sure. Worked out.
Yeah, but like anytime anybody tells you that you're awesome, you're gonna turn into a piece of
The point is, I'm not
you don't
even
have a
saying that in a
single person
negative
in your
way.
life that's like you're fucking super mid actually. You're gonna turn into a piece of shit.
Well, what I'm saying with that is that these are not people who seemed used to having fawning fans, right? Like a lot of them, honestly, are probably uncomfortable with those things, and it's literally like, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Dude, I identify with that so hard.
Yeah, I know, that's my point. That's the point in all this. I wasn't putting anyone down. I'm trying to identify the type of person. It's not, this isn't some star professional quarterback out there who's just, whatever. These are just people who gamed a lot.
Grab a $5 Simic card and ask Jason to sign it in Seattle.
Yeah.
Watch him squirm.
Also think about how many of these people's professional careers, such as that means for whatever that means in these games, probably only began since the pandemic. This might have been their first live event. It was fascinating. They also had a BYOC, bring your own computer set up. You could. It was 24 hours, 24 hours long. Like 24 hours. 24/7, 3 days long. So you could just do that all night if you wanted. It was an interesting event for sure. The biggest problem for me personally is that it was sponsored by Monster and not by Red Bull, and I don't like Monsters.
Because of Ninja, right?
I had to sneak in the Red Bulls. I have no idea, man.
Didn't Ninja pay, or didn't Red Bull pay Ninja like $25 million? He's like, I'm not gonna do anything, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. We just want to use your face on our cans.
I have no idea, dude.
I mean, Red Bull and Monster are just different flavors of battery acid, right?
I hear you saying that, but like I've trained my body to be.
You've trained your body. Your 3 out of 26 body has been trained.
With the reflexes of a sloth.
You know, I bet we'll have.
He
to
got
do
a
this.
0 out of 26
Hold up.
before he had his Red Bull, and it gave him his wings.
Fogo bet. The next time we are all together, or even some of us, I believe I have faster reflexes than Jason.
How do we test that? What's the...
Okay.
Pokemon Stadium 1, the quickest to use their lick-a-tongue to grab the thing out of the center, and it tells you exactly how long your reaction time was to the 100th of a second.
All right, man. I'm going to say no. Because A, I have nothing to prove, and B, what if I lose? So, yeah. Everyone listening is like, there's no way Corbin is better at anything than Jason, and all I have to do is just not prove them wrong.
In a slightly different life, I was a top 5 ranked player at an RTS. I got some clicks in these fingers. At least I did 20 years ago.
In a different life, you went through the windshield of a car. Just saying.
Right there.
It was a different life because you don't remember anything that happened before that.
At all. Factually happened. I guess it's time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
You like that one? You like that transition, you piece of...
Dude, so rude.
All right, I'm going to start it off.
I got a $5... Sorry, Corbin, my reflexes are faster. I've got a $5 card that's only been printed once in a pre-con very recently, and it's already in over 12,000 decks on EDH Rec. That's a lot. Druid of Purification is a card that is just... Yeah. Well, it was released in the last 2 years, so DJ doesn't know what it was. Druid of Purification is a very good card, and it's better than you think. The first time you read this card, you're like, yeah, whatever, and it's better than that. And it's under $5, so pick them up.
I used to have a joke about how every single Magic set had a card, a red enchantment that said starting with you, and then my eyes would glaze over, and it happened again.
That's funny.
When Druid of Purification enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player may choose this artifact or enchantment you don't control. Okay, so it's like
it's like a table helper. It's anytime there's something that like the table wants rid of.
Wow, and it's repeatable.
You would power the table to get rid of the stuff.
This is like Volcanic Offering, right? It's just like you just let everyone.
Yeah.
It is non-sane that this card is.
All right, Jason, I'm buying one right now. Good call.
Yeah. This card fucks,
good
man.
Call. This one's pretty good.
If you just play it for 4 mana, it does a very good thing. But like bouncing and blinking and reanimating exists. This card fucks, dude.
No kidding. Okay. Wow.
You could blow up one of the treasure tokens that each player has.
I've never seen this card before in my life.
Dude, I'm not surprised. There's so much. There's so much, dude.
Same. Yeah.
There are 62 legendary creatures in Baldur's Gate. And each one of those 62 legendary creatures, 32 of them have choose a background. So really, if you count the backgrounds, that's 29 more legendary things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm saying
I just-
29 because I count Faceless one, but if you don't, it's 28.
I just bought a
You
Druid
may
of
have 2
Purification.
copies of Faceless One in your deck. Sorry, I'm just having
That'd be
flashbacks from
awesome.
Richmond.
That would be awesome.
Well, that was what they did at Richmond, was that you could put, like, if you drafted all your cards and you didn't have any legends, you got to pick
you just
2
go grab
Faceless
2
ones.
Faceless ones. Yeah, your commander is Faceless one, your background's Faceless one.
Sure, why not?
That'd be fun.
All right, I'll follow up here. Following on the mill discussion we have and the deck doing well, my buddy, they were looking at the lists on MTG Melee the night before the top 8. And they're like, oh, well, this person's playing Jund. It's like, Zoomer Jund, this is probably a good matchup for mill. You know, I don't even know about this list. It seems like you got this player. We walk in the next day, and it's Sol Maka. Does that mean anything to either of you?
Salamanca?
Sol Maka. S-O-L is his first name. M-A-L-K-A. He's the guy who invented The Rock. So he essentially invented Jund.
He invented Dwayne Johnson?
Yep. Birthed him. Yeah, Sol Maka invented The Rock, the archetype, the green-black X archetype in Magic.
Corbin, I'm going to stop you right there. You said Sol Maka, and I was like, that's another stupid fucking Commander legend, isn't it? Like, that's another legendary creature
Nope.
that I don't know about.
Nope. Real dude.
Yep. At target player across the interwebs. A very, very good player back in the day. And got second place at Dallas with Zoomer Jund after he beat my friend in the top 8. Shout out to Mason Clark, who won the event. But with all of that said, in the top 8, I got to watch Tasha's Hideous Laughter mill Sol Maka for 30 cards. 3 mana, 30 cards exiled from your library. It was absurd. The entire deck, we counted, the entire Zoomer Jund deck or whatever, has 50 total CMC in it. So if you consider that they're going to have some amount of converted mana costs in their hand, the Tasha's Hideous Laughter, each opponent exiles until they have exiled 20 or more. It hit 30 cards in the match. So Mill is a very good deck. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is $4. It's from AFR. This is the next archive trap. This card only gets better as the format has gotten more efficient, and I don't think there's going to be a big influx of 4 and 5 mana spells anytime soon.
So one of the most simplistic things you can do, I talk a lot on this podcast about like ways to scale industry and turn yourself into whatever's behind me. But one of the more efficient ways to use your time if you're just like an armchair speculator and just wanting to do things like buy cards when they're cheap, like we kind of try to teach you how to do, is to like use MTG stocks to just briefly skim the global stats for the card on like the big players. TCG low is 273, and that's just pulling TCG player API data where TCG player is wrong because they're giving you like the lowest LP listing with like not counting shipping. So actually it's like 293 for an LP with $1 shipping or whatever. Card trader with 0 is 363. A card market 350 euro. So like that's slightly cheaper in the UK. That makes sense. That's about par. CK Card Kingdom is selling this for 8, which is like the big red flag here, the big green flag, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we've talked about that on this cast before. Card Kingdom, if they charge way more than everybody else, but like they continue to jack up their price, it's going to sell out there first and then like trickle down to everywhere else. I don't know why that happens, but that's a thing for EDH cards.
it's not even just EDH cards. It's just Card Kingdom is like one of the biggest in the US in terms of market share. So like they just have the buyer confidence and just like the SEO optimization to be able to do that. And like just for context here, like if you're like, wow, how are they selling the card for 8? What is their buy list price? Their buy list price is $4.40 right now. And if you're using Card Kingdom's buy list correctly, then you're selling to them and taking store credit, and then you're selling that store credit on the aftermarket for 85% of its value. So you're getting more than the actual cash price, but less than the actual store credit, but you're getting it in cash. You're getting like slightly over $5 for Tasha's Hideous Laughter buy list, which is higher than retail. So fill in the blank.
You can practically arbitrage copies.
If you have them immediately available to you, yes. Like if your LGS has it stickered for 4, this is when you just like grab a brick of them. For sure.
All
All right,
right.
I guess that means I'm next. I
got
have
it.
a card that was reprinted in the new Streets of New Capenna Commander version 2 Electric Boogaloo Street Fighter, whatever. It is a card that was originally printed in War of the Spark, and it came out as a near bulk rare, and then just slowly climbed to like the 4, 5, 6 range, and then it tanked after the reprint. This is Karn's Bastion. It's just a colorless land that has Proliferate on it. It does have one other open house printing, and it has like all the weird ancillary printings we've come to know and hate, like the promo pack with the little stamp on it. And it's got its pre-release promo. It's also got like a non-zero number of like NFC copies out there from the War of the Spark uncut sheets. But if you see the Commander reprinted version, and if it continues to dodge reprints for a year or two, which I realize is a big asterisk in this day and age, this is one that will continue to have casual demand and slowly climb back up from the 1 to 2 to the 5, back to the 4 to the 5 kind of vibe. It's also just like a way to save you $3 in like a buy your copy now kind of thing if you just want one.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get out of here, Jason, I do want to give you a chance. You mentioned you were going to an event. You've got GP Seattle coming up. This will be your first event in how many years at this point?
Pandemic.
There you go. So, I mean, a minimum of 3 or so at this point. Good for you. I'm happy that you're going to go and play and try not to...
I'm not going to the GP. I'm going to Seattle to play Pokemon Go with my wife. If I go by the GP and don't have to pay $50 to go in, maybe I'll go in. If I do, maybe I'll be having some dinners with some people and that's it.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not telling you where my hotel is, but if you find my hotel, I'll sign a card for you.
Sure thing. Well, there you go. I'm going to be at Vegas this weekend. As a matter of fact, we've got a Flesh and Blood event. I'll be at next to the Magic event that is also going on in Las Vegas. So it's been a busy stretch for me. I'll be glad to have a break after this. I'm going to be moving, as a matter of fact, over the next few weeks. But I'm looking forward to Vegas, and then looking forward to a nice break at home. As for all of you out there, I know you're looking forward to this podcast next week. You can always get the podcast early by going to patreon.com/BSB. You can find us at youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery. We appreciate you listening.
You can find Coalesce hoodies on their website and in the link in the description. And you can also find them on our website, because we updated our website to have the link to the Coalesce website where you can get those hoodies and those t-shirts, and you can avoid my digital wrath.
Yep.
I haven't posted any names or addresses or loved ones' social security numbers yet.
Yeah, it's been such a
Allegedly.
long time since DJ doxed anybody. Give him another chance. Just give him your deets. Ship him your deets. Go on.
I'm just saying that those hoodies and shirts are very comfortable, and they will give you that level of hierarchy of needs kind of vibe that me posting your personal information online won't. So
there you go. And while you're doing all of that, use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week, everyone.